And of course, innovation also means failure along the way. Because even if you look at some of the advances in rocket science, you're seeing rockets explode, and even in healthcare. What's your relationship like with failure? Because I've always seen there's a difference in how people relate to failure. And those who look at it differently seem to do a lot better than those who look at it in another way. What's your relationship like with failure?
Well, no one likes to fail.
Yeah.
The truth is, our DNA for billions of years as a species is about failure. We happen to be the ones that have survived and changed. I'm naturally a perfectionist, and failure is quite interesting. My approach to failure is to try and embrace and learn from it. So it's really interesting. I don't know whether you've read Amy Edmondson's book, The Right Kind of Wrong, where she talks about intelligent failure and, not setting your alarm and failing to get up in the morning is just bad.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're a chef at Nobu and you've got 10 different dishes that you're creating, one might be the star dish. So you accept that 9 are not going to work. So that's intelligent failure, learning from what was wrong with those 9. In medicine, it's quite hard because it's critical and there are people on the ends of your decisions. So that failure is really important, and it's very rich, but B, you owe it to our patients. I've always tried to learn. I've always tried to audit what happens. Heinrich did some work on high reliability, safety critical organizations, oil and gas industry, and the ratio of catastrophic disaster, Blue Water Horizon, to significant incidents to small near misses is 1 to 30 to 300. Mm-hmm. And what we do is, in medicine, we focus on the disasters. Mm-hmm. And what we don't do enough of is learn from near misses. Yeah. And I think in my life, I've always but for the grace of God, I've always taken note of what's happened around me, and also my near misses and our team's near misses. I have no fear of talking about failure. And, I've plumbed the depths. I've sat almost like we're sitting now when I was doing my last assessment before becoming a consultant in my training. And very wise surgeon, he just said, it was almost a fireside chat, but, he said, you'll have some really dark days. Mm. Now, I'd never sort of set myself up to prepare for those dark days, but it was a really interesting, insightful piece of advice. And I think what we have to realize is we will be met with challenges all the time. And you've got to adopt the warrior mentality. Is it fight, flight, or fawn? Mm-hmm. And, I think you have to take an attitude. If you're made a mistake, witnessed a mistake, been part of something, A, you have to stand up and acknowledge it, and B, you have to really learn from it. Roger Federer he gives a speech to some university kids. I'm sure everyone has seen it on social media. He talks, this is one of the greatest champions, and not only is a great champion, he's a lovely guy, and he's entertained all of us. Yeah. And he talks, I think he only won about 80% of his matches. Mm-hmm. And interestingly, he says, of those 80%, how many points do you think he won in those matches? He only won 54% of the points.
Oh, okay.
But the thing that he did was he won enough points to win the games and enough games to win the matches. And the point about that is, don't dwell on the failure. It happens, learn from it, put it away, and then look forward. So I've not because of Federer, but I've naturally had that. So that's the theory. Mm-hmm. What's the practice? What's the real me? So if you ask my wife, she'll tell you if I have an anastomotic leak, I'm the most miserable person.
I can imagine.
I'm grumpy.
I think I've seen you get miserable when I was a trainee.
Yeah, you have absolutely the version of me that I would never want anyone to see, but that's the reality is you have to go through that. Having said that, I've done it so often now, I acknowledge it and I realize it. Recently I had a surgical complication, and I went through that whole thing of why did I become a surgeon? Why did I become a doctor? Why was I even born? Because that's how painful. So this is the reality, the lived experiences. It's so painful.
Yeah.
And facing up to your failure is humbling. It makes you feel foolish sometimes. But you have to do it. That's how you grow. And I think in medicine, it happens much more than we would like to admit. So how do you survive that? Because, most people don't die by the bullet in the heart. They die because of the stress of the bullets every day. Somebody or something is trying to make me fail every day.
Yeah.
And I can help in that process as well. So I think it's about being able to acknowledge those things, being strong, and actually facing it. Your responsibility is to face up to the failure. Yeah. Talk about it. Get some feedback. And when you hear the painful feedback that you don't want to hear, try and learn from that. You may get some really good advice, but sometimes you're not in the psychological state to take that advice.
Who's that French surgeon that said every surgeon walks around with a graveyard?
René Lariche.
Really?
Henry Marsh has it in the beginning of his book. Every surgeon has a graveyard where we bury our skeletons.
Yeah.
And medicine was not particularly transparent. And I think radical truth in surgery is sadly lacking. Little error is not registered. Whereas if a little error was happened in the space program or in flight, you register it because you learn from it. So honesty really helps.